Hello, friends and fellow VEDSies. This background I used to use for back when I was in middle school and making movie news videos.
Welcome to Movie Madness. I'm Spartan967.
So it's kind of wild because today I'm going to be making a movie related video, although it won't be movie news. I'm going to be reviewing Some Like It Hot. This is because I've had this for a long time, and then Tessa put it on her top 15 favorite movies list. And I'm like, I might as well finally catch up with this one, directed by Billy Wilder, starring Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon. It is just one of those classics that, you know, I know a lot about it. I, of course, know the last scene and the last line, but I haven't ever gotten around to watching it. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And this is one of these classics that just holds up, lives up to the hype. It is obviously very funny, one of the classic Hollywood comedies. And I think that really comes down to the fact that Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis are fully buying into these roles, both their roles as jazz musicians who are pretending to be women, but then also as they turn back into the various other kind of roles they take on in the film. They obviously switch back to their male personas, but also adopt new personas. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to all the innuendo they do, and there's also a lot of really good physical comedy. There's a scene where they just fit an absurd amount of people into a bunk bed in a train car, which is just an absolutely hilariously staged scene. And then you have Marilyn Monroe, who brings all the charisma she usually brings on stage, has a lot of fun one-liners, and gets some songs in here where she can shine, but also really is the heart of the movie. She does really anchor a lot of the emotions here. And you have my favorite part, which is all the gangster stuff. I knew that gangsters were involved in this movie, although I didn't know to which extent. And the opening to this movie, the car chase, all the prohibition stuff, it's a good while before we see our two leads. And I was just digging it. I loved all of the Prohibition era gangster stuff. This is, of course, one of those films like Singing in the Rain, which is, because it's from the past, we kind of just think of it as a past film, but this is a past film that's also a period piece, and so you're kind of seeing the what was contemporary for the time, their imagining of Prohibition, which is super fun. The part where they pull down the curtain and it's all the shotguns and it just turns into this car chase shootout is just this really fun genre stuff that's very heightened and a little silly, but of course that fits because this is a comedy. If I had a problem with it, is that there is a scene near the end. It's kind of one of the big set pieces where one of the characters has adopted this new persona and is trying to woo Marilyn Monroe, and that's switching back to the other character who's being wooed by, in his female persona is being wooed by a millionaire, and it's kind of back between the two of them. But all that stuff with Marilyn, it pulls back on the humor. Either that or the humor just isn't as explicit to me because it may be just some stuff that hasn't aged not well, in the sense that it's like it doesn't hold up from a content perspective, but just like the way I'm reading it would have been different from the 50s. So maybe that's why it's not as funny, or it's because they're trying to nail down more of the emotional and build up this relationship. But because one of the characters is putting on this kind of fake persona, it's hard to buy into the character relationship there because it's kind of built on a false premise. And I can buy at the end that when Marilyn finds out about like the double deception, that she's fine with it because of the genre and because of the tone, but just spending so much time on that kind of fake relationship kind of dragged down the movie a little bit for me, and I was just kind of waiting for those very brief moments where it cut back to the other couple. Even then, that's such a small thing, and a lot of it, I think, is just my perspective coming at this from the 21st century versus the 20th. Overall, big fan of Some Like It Hot. Can't wait to watch it again. My girlfriend actually FaceTimed me in the middle of it, and I held up the phone so she could watch a little bit of the movie, and she was loving all the gangster stuff. So I imagine we'll rewatch this in the not too distant future. So that's my review of Some Like It Hot, friends and fellow VEDSies. I will see you tomorrow.